Committee spokesperson Mark Adams says the IOC wants Heriskevich to have his moment, and it feels his grief over the war in Ukraine.
There are 130 conflicts going on in the world. We cannot have 130 different conflicts featured, however terrible they are. We cannot have them featured during the field of play, during the actual competition.
Heriskevich says the IOC's decision plays along with Russian propaganda. Heriskevich was among the fastest in training leading into the Olympic races. I'm Donna Warder.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. We'll have winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 28. By Friday, sunshine, a high of 50 degrees. Saturday, partial sunshine develops, a high around 52. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high around 52. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chu.
Good Thursday morning, progressives, and welcome to the February 12th, 2026 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278 is the number. You can find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com and follow me on all the socials, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, Spoutable, and Substack. And you can catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views featured interviews. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive with Joan. And, of course, Patty Vasquez, driving you home. Edwin Eisendrath on Saturdays with It's the Democracy, Stupid. And Out Chicago, as well as our other great shows and interviews that take place throughout the rest of the day. Make your way over to Heartland Signal. Let me read you guys a couple of things that are at Heartland right now. In front of ICE, CBP, and USCIS leaders, U.S. Representative Delia Ramirez says DHS was designed by Congress to violate people's rights and should be dismantled. She just went right for it. She didn't mince any words, and she certainly didn't stutter when she spoke. Another great article that we have over at Heartland Signal, Tennessee State Rep Monty Fritz, Republican, who is a candidate for governor in Tennessee, voted no on a pro-legal immigration resolution. And this is the one that just doesn't surprise me. But when you read it and then you say it out loud, you just go, oh, my Lord. He said he voted no on this pro-immigration resolution because he feels that the U.S. has reached, quote, a super saturation point and supports the idea to suspend immigration for a while and even suspend H-1B visas. So I wanted to do a little bit of background on Monty's family, and I'll have some stuff together for tomorrow. But I want to find out. Like I would probably believe that the majority of his family migrated to the United States. From which country, I don't know. And unless he's one of those ones that likes to run around and say, "My family came here on the Mayflower, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria." He's one of those kind of dudes, Henry. He might want to try to say that, but I doubt that. But even still, here's what that shows. Clearly, he doesn't want any more brown. Well, let me back up. He doesn't want any more folks migrating to the United States. And he frames it in the supersaturation point. Okay, so saturation, look at the definition of the word and what it means. It really denotes a lot about his understanding of how our country has actually grown. And if he thinks that we've reached a super saturation point, what's that defined as? So you could throw out those words and say we got too many immigrants. And I'm not going to put words in his mouth and say he's saying we have too many immigrants that are brown skinned. I'm not going to say that because that would be, I don't know that he's saying that. Those are not the words that he used. But the super saturation point and suspending H-1B visas. Here's the stupid side of that. So if he's being all inclusive, and this is why I'm careful to not say what we might want to assume he's saying, but if we take him at his word, and the supersaturation point is one that one could make and lean into, then you'd have to ask the question: so then who does that include that you're trying to exclude? Because in pretty much every sector of our country, when it comes to the economy and employment and work that's done, someone that is an immigrant or descendants of immigrants is getting that work done. And I'm not just talking about what a lot of candidly GOP white folks like to say, which is the Mexicans are doing all the dirty work. They're doing all the, and sometimes even Democrats slip into that and saying, they're doing all the work that. Okay, we don't know that, and to a point that I've made in the past, and I know I'll make it again in the future. I know a lot of Mexican, Latino, Puerto Rican brothers and sisters that are captains of industry. Okay. And so to say that it's the brown people that are taking the jobs has always been one that I just sit back and laugh at and go, okay, well, maybe they're taking the corporate jobs that you're too damn stupid for. You didn't let your children go to college because you were too worried about them being smarter and better than you were. And meanwhile, someone of a Latin, Mexican, Hispanic, Puerto Rican descent did it the way that we say is the American dream, and they blew right past your child like they were running backwards. That's on you. Don't blame that on people of color. So, Monty, if you want to stop H-1B visas, you might be stopping somebody from the European country that your family most likely came from entering this country to do great things, just as someone that's coming from the southern border. But you're probably too damn arrogant and stupid to realize that. So, there you go. Tennessee State Rep Monty Fritz. I'm going to find out what his heritage is. I'm going to take some time to find that out. Because, I like to get evil like that every now and again for the purpose of making a point. Anyhow, he's running for governor in Tennessee, so Tennessee, wake the hell up. On today's show, speaking of immigration, Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, one of the best, if not best attorneys in the country in the space of immigration, is going to be with us in the 7 o'clock hour. And then John Bartman and Will Westmoreland, who are fifth-generation Illinois soybean farmers and political activist that have founded Back 40 Action, a rural advocacy organization, will be with us in the 7:30 hour. John's been with us before, and looking forward to chatting with both of these guys in the 7:30 hour. So hang with us as we bring them to you. But it's Black History Month, and Black history is American history. And we've got yet another little snippet that you may not have known of from my man 77 Flavors Shy.
Malcolm X worked for Pullman. Let's talk about it. At the start of the summer 1941, as his time card reads, a guy by the name of Malcolm Little worked for Pullman Company. And yeah, it was Malcolm X. Now, he wasn't a Pullman porter, but he was listed as a cleaner. And realistically, this was like a covert op mission for Malcolm X. Basically, what he wanted to figure out was how black folks and white folks interacted with each other. And to do so, he kind of had to go undercover as a cleaner. What he found, and I am paraphrasing, is that if you shucked and jive for white folk back in that time, you got paid pretty nicely and you got treated pretty nicely just so they can have the illusion that they were higher level. Now, I paraphrase that. He found out that there was profuse use of the N-word, profuse use of the word boy, and profuse use of the term Georgie, which came from George Pullman. They were former slaves, and the best thing you call them were Georgies. And that was still, connotation-wise, a bad thing. Huge shout-out to the Newberry Library for digging in the vault and bringing out Malcolm X's employee card from Pullman, which is one of our favorite things we've ever done here in Chicago. And on this time card, you can see a lot. You can see where he was from, year he was born, and you can see how long he worked for Pullman. Fun fact, it wasn't long. He only lasted 2 days, June 25th to June 27th, 1941, for a total of 12 and a half hours. And get this, we are sure he was a menace to them because on his employee card it says not to be rehired. Go ahead, Malcolm X.
Oh, he's always very, very funny. And he's a voice here in Chicago, like Six Figure Dilla, who speak about what's happened in Chicago and the history and its impact on the rest of the country and the world, frankly. So, yeah, Malcolm X was, he wasn't a porter, but he was maybe doing some research, we might say. But, yeah, you know, this is the thing about, you know, history, period. Black history specifically in this moment, but history, period. We see like, oh, wow, that person did X, Y, and Z, or that person was over here doing X, Y, and Z, Henry. Why do we want to get rid of that? Why do we want to not talk about that? You know, it's just, well, I'll tell you why. I'm going back to Monty Fritz for a second, then we hit this break. It's because there's a lot of weak A people that call themselves the, you know, straight white Christian male and the matriarchy that wants to follow the patriarchy. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, I mean, it's that simple. But there you go. We're going to take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Tara Devlin for the Political Voices Network. This is America, right? We don't do kings here. No crowns, no thrones, no authoritarian cosplay. That's why we created the No Kings American Flag pin. For the low price of $20.26, that's 2026, we're keeping our eye on the prize here. This well-crafted enamel pin is the standard 1-inch American flag lapel pin. But this one features the patriotic No King symbol that defines our rallying cry. It's your quiet way of signaling to other patriots that you believe in democracy, and yeah, that still matters. You can grab yours now at store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com. That's store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com. The No Kings American Flag pin. Get it now at store.politicalvoicesnetwork.com.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Yes. Welcome back, folks. So spicy. I'll get into that in a little bit. But We'll hit you guys with a couple quick news on this February 12th. 2026, U.S. adds 130,000 jobs in January, doubling the prior estimates. Why? Because they drove down the original numbers, so it would make the Trump administration look like they're doing something. But we're not talking about the manufacturing jobs and all the people that are losing their jobs on a federal level. The U.S. added 130,000 jobs in January, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which was revealed yesterday. Economists had expected gains of less than half that number. The overall unemployment rate ticked down to 4.3% for the month from 4.4% in December. Healthcare and construction saw the biggest growth, but they were 2 of just 7 surveyed sectors out of 14 that added roles, and that's equally important. Only 2 out of 14 that were surveyed. The annual benchmark revisions released simultaneously showed the economy added just 181,000 jobs last year, a far cry from the previous estimate of 584,000. Read the numbers, Trump administration. You overestimated to sound good and make it look like you were going to do something great, and you fell short. Once again, all right, Super Bowl, second most watched ever with 124.9 million viewers across NBC's broadcast and streaming platforms, falling nearly 3 million viewers shy of last year's record, but still ranking as the second most watched TV show of all time. Seattle's victory over the listless Patriots didn't make for compelling viewing, but Bad Bunny's halftime show did draw over 128 million viewers. Ha! There you go. Get down, Bad Bunny. Save the day. Google offers severance packages to business staffers. Google is offering buyouts to employees in its global business organization, according to Business Insider. Citing an email from staff, employees are now aren't enjoying, the pace we need to operate in that can leave, according to Philip Schindler, Google's business chief officer. Google, which has offered multiple buyouts over the past year, says that this buyout is limited to specific teams and excludes customer-facing roles. The move comes amid a broader industry shift toward workforce optimization as tech giants continue to invest in artificial intelligence. Last but not least, American Airlines CEO is facing heat from within. Pressure keeps building on American Airlines CEO Robert Isom. Its flight attendants union issued a no confidence vote in his leadership last week. Pilots also rebuked him and now want to meet with the full board. Compared to rivals, American was hit hardest by last month's winter storm-related challenges, which resulted in 21,000 flights scrapped over 4 days and left some pilots and flight attendants sleeping on airport floors. That's a shame. The struggling airline projects a 6-fold earnings pop this year from adding business class seats as it plays catch up with Delta and United. A couple of Choose Views items this morning. And as you guys know, I'm going to be down in North Carolina March 1st for the Building Bridges Fireside Chat, along with Anderson Clayton, who is the North Carolina Democratic Party chair and just a great leader right now. One of those voices that's really making some things happen. This is going to happen 2 days before the state's Democratic primary. And as I said before, we'll be joined by state reps Rodney Pierce, Dante Pittman, also Pastor James Gaillard, and I think we're adding some other folks to the list. Pastor Gaillard has been a guest on the show and also a candidate for North Carolina State Senate. The event's going to be at Word Tabernacle Church in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, from 2 to 4 Eastern Time. You can register by going to heartlandsignal.com and clicking on my picture. Click on my forehead or nose, or have some fun with it. Let your child do it, or your grandchild. That'll take you to my show page where you will find out information about the event and the registration link. And if you don't do that, you can just text us at 773-763-9278, and we'll send you the link. So there you go. All right. President's Day is Monday, and I still want to hear from you guys in terms of your movie. Got some really great responses yesterday. You can call us and tell us about it. Tell us why it is. I just want to have some fun with this in the crazy time that we're in right now, guys. Again, someone could say, it's not newsworthy. You should be talking about that. Listen, y'all need to take a beat. It's crazy and stressful enough as it is, and some of the stuff I'm going to bring to you in the next few minutes is going to be crazy and stressful. But let us know what your president movie is, or your president. Some even said it's not a movie, but it was a series, and I liked it. That's cool too. Just want to hear, try to put some positivity in this crazy A world we're in with this dude in the White House. So let us know again by phone or by text what that movie or that series or show might be. All right. During the next half hour, the 6:30 hour, I'm going to take calls from you guys. And, as I said to Henry when we got in, we both were shaking our heads, and I asked him, I said, did you have a chance to see any of the hearing yesterday? And I promised you guys I was going to watch it, because I said that if I wanted to see the Democrats come to this fight ready to fight. And if you saw it, you can see that many of them did. And it was a doo-doo show. Let's just call it that. I can't say the other word, but it was a doo-doo show. And y'all know what doo-doo is. I have so many things I can, and I will say them, not can say, but I'll keep it as clean as we need to keep it. We've all that watched it or that have seen clips from it know that Pam Bondi is nothing other than that thing that Melania used to be before she married Donald Trump. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say the words. I'm not going to get in trouble. Won't get in trouble for that, because that's what she was. Didn't tell any lies, did I, Henry? That's what she was. Mm-hmm. But Pam Bondi acted like that yesterday, and she clearly was performing for an audience of one, and maybe some others. But certainly, if that's the new definition of the American U.S. Attorney General, and I'm not going to get caught up while we're in really trouble now. We've been here. I said last May we were not falling into or slipping into authoritarianism. We were already there. We're there. We just have enough guardrails that we haven't just completely driven over the cliff. We are there. So, and yesterday her display, her performance was definitely that. I'd like to hear from you guys. I don't want to over talk about this. I will talk about it. I'd like to hear from you guys that saw it or seen clips from it, what your thoughts are and how it impacted you. I really do want to know. Because I'm curious as to what you saw and how you think we navigate this and go forward. So give us a call. I know some of you will send texts, and I'll try to read them over the air if I can. But give us a call, because I'd like to talk to you guys about this. The one thing I will say, not one thing, but I'll say this probably a couple times. I watched it on MS News, formerly MSNBC, and it was during the time frame that Katie Tur it was during her show. And when I've talked about corporate media not doing their job and doing it without this sort of tap dance apology, blame Democrat, everybody's the same, both sides do it, garbage. This is one of the things that struck me, is that after the hearing was over, and I watched it on MS News, after the hearing was over, they had on a panel of people that were to respond to what they saw. And I didn't write down the names, but I just remember the faces of who they've been on MS News before. But there were a couple of people, Katie Tur even, and I knew I could see her struggling, trying to justify the question or the framing of the questions that she was going to ask. The word that came out from a couple of the guests that were on the show was theatrics and performative. Okay. I think that Katie got the call from the C-suite that said, we can't, as much as we want to talk about what happened and how it happened and what we saw, we can't really throw the GOP under the bus. We can't really throw Pam Bondi under the bus. We have to sort of play nice. And what it turned into is that I think there were 8 people that were the guests that were talking, or 6 to 8 people. that were in the little boxes like it was, what was the old game show, Holiday Squares or whatever it was. Anyhow. And a couple of them had the gall to say that the reason that this turn was so much of so theatrical and such a performative and just is that the Democrats in the House, first of all, they started off by saying that the Congress is so broken and Congress is so messed up and the Congress didn't get its job done. It was supposed to be an oversight hearing, but it turned into this performative whatever. And a couple of them tried to pivot and then say that it's because the Democrats were not asking the right questions and that they were grandstanding. Now, some may agree that the Democrats could have asked different questions. I can get with that. Could have asked a couple of different questions. But the Democrats came to fight. And the fight was a different fight than the last time because they weren't prepared for the burn book that Pam Bondi had. They came ready to fight. They came ready to push back and not take any garbage from this queen. And I don't mean, let me take that out. Not this queen, this creature that's trying to act like a queen. The reason I was using queen is because that's another word that I want to use that would not be allowed. Henry would break his arm hitting the red button. And so would Mike. But what was so just, once again, corporate media, all of them, excuse me, guys, is that they were trying to, a few of the people on that panel were trying to blame the Democrats for not asking the right questions and for grandstanding. No, they came to fight, y'all. And it wasn't both sides, because here's the thing. The Republicans that were there were giving Pam Bondi their time to rebut what a Democrat had just pinned her to the wall on. So every single time that it went from a Democratic congressperson in that hearing, asking questions or putting the heat to Pam Bondi. Every single time when Jim Jordan then gave time to the Republican congressperson in that hearing, Pam Bondi said to the person, "May I have 20 seconds of your time?" And that was that 20, and the 20 seconds was then to use to go back and slam the Democrat who had just pinned her down or tried to pin her down. The Republicans are the ones that were pimped out yesterday. They all were pimped out yesterday. Mike Johnson, whoever, Donald Trump, whoever, said, you guys need to go along with everything she does, because every single one of them did. Some of them even came up to close to lying with some of the information that they presented. It wasn't accurate. And MS News was running a side chyron, I guess you'd call it, that showed that the Republicans' data that they were using was inaccurate or being misrepresented, whatever you want to call it. But these people that were on the panel on MS News were trying to make it sound like the Democrats were the ones that were at fault, skipping past this childlike behavior from the U.S. Attorney General. And people wonder why the media the corporate media has gotten such a stain on it. Well, that was the reason why. They got those people on, Katie Tur's got those people on her post-hearing panel. It was disgusting. That disgusted me as much as Pam Bondi did. Horse manure. Break time, 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. We'll be right back. I want to hear your calls.
WCPT Replay.
This morning, we have with us the author of The Luckiest, Kelly Cervantes. How have you been able to help others with their grief that may have experienced the loss of a loved one, and more specifically, the loss of a child?
I have had the incredible opportunity to be invited to speak for several nonprofit organizations. I think so much of grief help, it has to happen in person. I think so often people don't know how to respond to someone else's grief, or they find out that someone has had a loss and they don't know what to say. My biggest piece of advice is if you find out that someone you know has lost a loved one, ask them about them. Ask them what they were like. Ask them about a favorite memory, because all they want to do is talk about them. They want them to be remembered.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. We'll have winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 28. By Friday, sunshine, a high of 50 degrees. Saturday, partial sunshine develops, a high around 52. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high around 52. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Yes, welcome back, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. I've got a lot more to say about that hearing, and I want to hear from you guys as well. I want to get your thoughts about it. I'm going to let you say your piece. If you have a different opinion or observation, I want to hear it, because I think the clarity is good for the conversation. I got a text that said, "Good morning. Why are you still watching MS Now?" I made a I said yesterday's show that I was going to watch going to follow the hearing. So I don't watch it with any regularity. I watch it to get information, see where things are going. I'll look at CNN. I read a lot of different news outlet information because I want to. I know unapologetically that we're a progressive station. We're progressive liberal Democrats, and I know that can. I said this yesterday about silos. My nephew said we all live in our silos, sometimes accidentally. So I don't want to live in a silo and just listen to or watch or read one thing. I look at a lot of different things. And so that's the reason, two reasons. One, I said yesterday that I was going to watch the hearing or follow the hearing. So that's one to keep my word. And secondly, because I wanted to get some perspective. I have a better trust in MS Now than I do in CNN, and certainly in Fox and the others. So that's the reason why. Just to answer the question that was asked of me, I said I was going to do a certain thing, and I wanted to keep my word, if you will. What Pam Bondi did was just absolutely. And for those who didn't watch it, for those who did or did not watch it, it was clearly it was a planned show. It was a reality show for her. She wanted to, Henry, and I'll tell you that there are a couple things that made me smile, and there's a couple that made me that really made me want to say some, probably like a lot of people in the country, some very not nice things. And I was exchanging some text messages with a good friend, Dana Goldberg, at the point in which she went off the rails with Vermont Congresswoman Becca Bayland. And this is why it was planned to attack. And this is why proud's not the right word. I'm glad the Democrats came to not be pushed around like she tried to do in the past and like this administration tries to do in these press conferences and Caroline Leavitt likes to do and Kristi Noem likes to do. Here's what I'm talking about. They were prepared to go after Becca Bayland, who is has descendants from the Holocaust, and the conversation around anti-Semitism. And Miss Bayland said her piece and then got up and walked out because it was so disgusting. And what struck me about this when Pam Bondi went after her about anti-Semitism and her, she lost family members in the Holocaust, concentration camps, meaning Miss Balin, is that they knew that. It wasn't an accident, Henry. They knew that. It was planned because she pulled something out and read from. So this is why the people who showed up on MS News that were trying to play this game, go kick rocks. What we saw is what we saw. Our eyes did not fool us. Pam Bondi acted like a spoiled milk child. She probably smells like spoiled milk. That's my opinion. Free speech. I wonder, let me put it in a question. I wonder if she smells like spoiled milk. Because she's got to be dead inside. Because she runs around like Noam and Caroline with that cross on. But if you are of that belief system as it relates to being a Christian, you don't attack somebody on a personal level about something that is about their humanity. That's a disgusting, depraved thing to do. It just flat out is. There's no light between how I think and what I say on that. I think, and I'm saying, what she did in that moment with Representative Becca Balin, Congresswoman, was utterly disgusting. And I need y'all to speak to it that way. That was probably the low point for me of the entire hearing, is when she went after her tried to go after her indirectly about her heritage in terms of a vote on anti-Semitism. That was that was the furthest thing from being a Christian that you could ever call yourself. Spoiled milk. Absolutely. I'm getting a lot of texts from people now. She's dead inside. You cannot be a person of faith, not real faith, and go after someone like she did. So I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment. Take some time today and reach out to Congresswoman Becca Balin's office and just send her some love and support and let her know we got you, Congresswoman. I want y'all to do that. From anywhere in the country that you're listening, I need you to pick up the phone today and call her congressional office and say, we got you. Because that was disgusting and low, what she did. That was disgusting and low. So do the work that we as progressive liberal Democrats say we do and that we're about. Excuse me. And that's being there for people. Because Miss Balin was struck the wrong. That was just the wrong thing to do. And I know that there's a certain amount of decorum in the room that has to be had. But if I had been there, I'm just telling you, if I had been there as a guy, and I know this may sound like, guy stuff, but I'm just being honest, I would have said something to Pam Bondi in that moment. I would have yelled it, not even with my mic open. I would have said something to her. Because that was just wrong. It was disgusting, and it was sure as hell not Christian. So take the cross off or, do something else with it. That, to me, was a low point. One of the high points was my man, Congressman Jared Moskowitz, who came ready to play. He does always. Certainly most of the times that I've seen him. He comes ready to play. And here's what happened. He had seen a couple times now that she is using this burn book, which is the thing that they bring to the meeting, the binder with stuff that she can pull out and try to use to go after. She was trying to go after Congress, Democratic congressional members in that hearing with who may have died or may have been killed in their district that looked brown skin, that may have been part of what they want to say is a gang or illegal folks here. That was their play. And he said, so I love the way he plays the game. I love the way he fights. He basically said, guys, so what you got in your burn book on me? And he said, probably nothing. So he pulled out a whiteboard, and he said, let me see what you got. And she tried to deflect and do her normal thing that she was doing. And he drew a big fat 0, saying, you got nothing. That, to me, was kind of one of the high points. One of the other low points is how she went after Representative Thomas Massie, who is a Republican, and votes with the Republicans, I think, 96% of the time. But based on what we've seen from him recently, and we know part of it's he's running for Senate, so he needs to appeal to the entire state, which includes Democrats. So this is something that I've always said, watch the don't get taken by the okie doke. He's speaking the truth on the Epstein files and many other things, but he also is running for a statewide seat in the U.S. Senate, and he's got to get statewide votes. So I'm just saying, pay attention to the thing that's going on over here as well as what's right in front of you. But it was disgusting. She acted in a disgusting way, and there's a price that she should have to pay for that. It may not come until the midterms. And if so the other homework assignment, y'all, is if you watched this yesterday, if you watched this and you were so disgusted by it, then this is the time when you go, you know what, I'm going to fight a little bit harder. I'm going to do like Renee Hartman said yesterday, and many others who've won special elections. I'm going to fight a little bit harder because what I saw yesterday needs to end. We got to deal with it for another few months. But come the midterms and we take back the House of Representatives, this is, if you needed any motivation that you're going to work a little bit harder, maybe you won't do one thing and you'll do something else as relates to the midterms and any of the special elections along the way. This is that moment to say, you know what, I'm jumping back in the fight. Because what she showed the world yesterday, it was disgusting, and it was a total butt kiss on her part of Donald Trump, and the GOP was complicit. Every Republican member of the House of Representatives yesterday that gave her room to do what she did is equally disgusting and responsible. And I've been saying it for months now. I don't blame Donald Trump. I ain't even angry with him anymore. It's the GOP that's propping him up, and his cabinet and his staff. And this, remember how many times I've said the cabinet too? Well, she's a member of the cabinet. All right. When we come back from this break, which we're going to go to real quickly, we're going to grab some calls because I want to keep my word. Let's take a quick break, Henry. 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-337-0607. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-337-0607, 800-337-0607, 800-337-0607.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Yes, guys, welcome back. Listen, I forgot to mention a few other people. Yes, thank you guys for reminding me. Joe Nagoose from Colorado, he was ready too. And he pointed out that one of the J6ers that was yelling, "Kill them," is a person that she hired to be part of her staff. And so, you know, the hypocrisy of getting rid of bad criminals, the worst of the worst, ain't true. It was a bunch of BS. It's been that way. So thank you, Arkansas, for sending me that. Thank you, Rissa, for reminding me as well. I appreciate everybody's text message this morning. They're just laying it to them. Oh, here's one. She sold her soul to the devil, and the devil is Trump. Bondi is to Trump what Ghislaine Maxwell is to Epstein. She deserves every special place in hell if you believe in that sort of thing. But she definitely deserves a jail cell. Thank you, Rissa. Appreciate that. Let's grab one more, then we'll get some calls. Richard, why was Bondi not held in contempt after that utterly disgusting display? Maybe this will be a wake-up call for Congress. Let's be specific. The Republicans in Congress to reclaim its power and full branch of the government. I agree with you on that 773. Yeah. Well, we don't. The reason is because the Republicans run the show and have the numbers. If you are upset with Democrats for not doing enough, this is an example of why they came ready to fight. And some may not like the way that they were fighting, and some want to say that it was supposed to be an oversight. Nah, it was a situation. I think it was a perfect opportunity for the country to see how dog dirty this administration is. And one of its lieutenants, one of its people, Pam Bondi, showed it. So in many ways, the oversight, the performative part of this was good because the Democrats got to show they came ready to fight, they came prepared, and how disgusting Pam Bondi is. So maybe that's the other side of this and why we have to fight and take back the House of Representatives. All right, let's grab some calls. Let's go to Dan in Florida. Good morning, Dan. Welcome to the show. Dan, are you there?
Hey, good morning, Richard. Yes, good morning, Richard. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, Richard, this is actually Don.
Don.
And that's why I didn't answer right away.
I'm sorry,
Dan.
man.
This is Don. So anyway, let me just say this at the top. The media has failed us completely. They have failed us. Mm-hmm. I did not watch Katie Tur because I've seen her in the past, and she is driven by her corporate overlords. This has always been Katie Tur. Let me say this about the commentary that you shared in terms of some of the comments made by the panelists. What you described to me is analogous to when people say she should have just complied and she wouldn't have been shot, or he should have just paid attention to what the cops were asking him to do and he wouldn't have got shot. Finding excuses for bad behavior. Let me also say this, Richard. I so appreciate you continuing to remind people that it's the Republicans. That's why we're where we are right now. And I believe we are in an authoritarian regime right now. We're not getting there. We're there. Mm-hmm. And it's not because of the Democrats. As you continue to point out, like you, I am sick and tired of people blaming the Democrats and pointing fingers at the Democrats when they are fighting. When they don't appear to be fighting, people are complaining. The Democrats need to fight more. When they fight, you complain because you don't like the way they're fighting.
Come on.
Come
on, man. Don't make it like that.
They can't win. They can't win.
You can't make sense like that.
I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it.
Don, you can't make any sense like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Let me tell you this, Richard. The other thing I'm going to say, man, again, I appreciate you. The other thing I will say is today there is no daylight between, quote, MAGA and Republicans. Zero daylight. Not only the elected Republicans, but anybody who calls themselves a Republican today is MAGA. There's no difference.
That's right. Don, listen,
the other
man.
thing I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Richard,
No.
I just got riled up, man.
I know folks need to get it out today, so go for it.
The president is the Antichrist, and the people that are following him are the Antichrist. There's not a Christian principle or practice that they display ever.
Nope.
Pam Bondi was unhinged. She was disrespectful. She was obnoxious. Yeah. She is an embarrassment to be the Attorney General in these United States. She is an embarrassment. She is the one who said, I have the files on my desk.
Yep.
All she has done since that ridiculous statement is cover up for the people that were involved with Epstein for decades. She's covered it up.
Yes,
she has
did.
exposed victims. That's what she's doing. She has exposed victims. She's violating the law. Only half of the files have been released. And she says, I'm not releasing any more because my boss told me not to. They're violating the law, and they're getting away with it.
Don.
They're getting away with it. And it's because of the Republicans and the Republican Party. It has nothing to do with the Democrats.
See, y'all, I told you it wasn't just me. I told you it wasn't just me. Don, listen, man.
No, it's not just you.
First of all, take a deep breath, brother, and I'm giving you a big hug of care because I know how it feels. I know where you are. And so this is the work that we got to do, though. We've got to take what happened yesterday as another tool reason, whatever, motivator to say, all right, if I thought I was going to kind of, take the easy route, I ain't doing that. That's what I believe we have to do right now. And I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying if we truly believe in this, then that's where we got to reach out and get people involved in the process and win these midterms and these specials along the way so that we can have some sanity or move toward that. So, Don, thank you for your call.
I agree. I take ownership.
And take ownership. Right on, man. Be safe, okay? And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Richard.
You're
okay.
welcome. Bye-bye. Yeah, Don's like, nope. Let's go to Darlene. Hey, good morning, Darlene. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard. Thank you. I watched it on the live stream for MS Now because I didn't want those commercial breaks.
Right.
Which CNN, had them, and then MS Now. But the burn book that she had, it seemed to be directed at the Democrats. She didn't want to answer their questions, and then she would say, "You don't want to talk about," and she'd run down, this criminal, we caught this one, he did this, so on and so forth. No one on the panel is the controversy isn't that they're catching the worst of the worst. The controversy is that might be 4 or 5, 20% of who they're catching. The controversy is they're pulling in people that don't have criminal records. They're pulling in people based on how they look.
Yeah.
They're stopping people based on, you got tinted windows. I want to see, who's in there. Mm-hmm. And that was a bad strategy. I mean, did she really think that she could say to one of the Democratic reps, well, you don't care that we got so-and-so. None of the Democratic Congress people even addressed that line of attack.
I know what you mean.
But she kept bringing it up. You don't care about so-and-so.
I wanted her. This is that moment. I mean, we all are going to do this. It's that 11th hour sort of review of what could have been done. And I don't disagree with you, Darlene, because I actually said that myself. One of the questions that I wanted someone to say, and Jared Moskowitz kind of got close. I wanted somebody to say, why don't you have a burn book on your Republican colleagues who keep giving you 20 seconds of your time to trash talk us? See, I'm from Chicago. I'm built a little differently, like Mayor Johnson says. I would have said, listen, how about I would have gone back at her and said about things in her district as, you know what I mean? I would have played it a little bit differently. But again, we have the luxury of real-time review and go, I would have done this. Or I wish they would do this. Listen, guys, I've been on the show and had moments where I went, oh, gosh, that's a question I wish I had answered. So I'm not faulting them because let's be honest, they were under attack and they had to fight with what they knew was coming in part and then what actually came when it got there. It is kind of, you know what I mean, Darlene?
I'm faulting her. I agree with everything you said. They only had 5 minutes. I'm faulting her for thinking that strategy was going to play.
Yeah.
No, that strategy wasn't going to play.
No, and go ahead, I'm sorry.
Her skin is thinner than her boss's. And you could see it on her face. She looks down. She's got the pages flapping. I mean, it's just, she's really pitiful.
Spoiled milk, Darlene. My mother's turning over in her grave right now. Boy, why are you calling so? But it's my mother. My mother raised me to be this way. My mother would have said some things too. And spoiled milk is. And I don't know if your mother is still with us or not.
Yeah.
But your mother probably would have been of the same ilk.
You know, the other thing that I really didn't really think would be a strategy is don't look at her.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're questioning her, look at her. But if you're not questioning her, Democrats, don't even look at her.
Yeah. No, I know.
Bumper with your papers.
Yeah. It's so here's the thing. Going forward, the opportunities are large now of how to handle her in the next hearing. And they need to drag her back in.
And then Jamie Raskin also said, well, I saw what you did with the Senate hearing, and, we're not going to have that over here.
I told you, right.
And I think they're getting their strategy together for the next time she's up there.
Or any of them are up there, frankly.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Darlene. Appreciate your contribution.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Sure. You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So one of the things that Darlene was kind of teetering to talk about, probably because if she watched it, she saw this too, and this was some of the autopsy afterward. Y'all know that Trump is spying on Congress as they read the unredacted Epstein files. Did you know that? So here's what happened, Henry. During the hearing, as we go back to what Darlene was talking about in terms of the book that Ruffling Papers, that's me seeing Ruffling Papers, that Pammy had, is that she had, and you can look at the picture here, Henry. See that picture? And y'all should pull this up. So that picture is of the left side of one of her binders, and it's a picture of the search from one of the Congress people. I forgot which one it is now. When they were in the area, the secured area, looking at the Epstein files.
That's crazy.
And so that means that the president, I'm going to say the president, the Justice Department is spying on Congress when they go and look at these documents. That's crazy.
Crazy.
But if anybody's surprised, don't be surprised, y'all. As President Obama said, don't boo, vote. Well, don't get too upset right now. Get armed up and ready to fight. We're going to take a quick break. Our good friend Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch is going to be with us when we come back on the second hour. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the heart of World War II, while the skies rumbled with the roar of combat, a groundbreaking squad of pilots emerged from the segregated South, the Tuskegee Airmen. An elite group of African-American pilots defied the odds with their courage and skills. Trained at the Tuskegee Army Airfields in Alabama, they became the first black aviators in the U.S. military. Despite facing racism and skepticism, they soared through the skies, unmatched precision, escorting bombers and earning a distinguished reputation for their bravery. Their red-tailed P-51 Mustangs became a symbol of excellence and resilience, and in 2007, the Tuskegee Airmen were finally honored as they were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. These aviators didn't just fight for victory in the air, they battled for equality on the ground, forever altering the landscape of the American military and inspiring generations to come. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. We'll have winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 28. By Friday, sunshine, a high of 50 degrees. Saturday, partial sunshine develops, a high around 52. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high around 52. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey, I'm Dr. Kristen Lyerly, and I'm bringing you real conversations about the issues that matter most. Healthcare, politics, culture, you name it. Every week, I sit down with newsmakers and friends, and we break down what's happening and what it means for you. It's smart, it's fun, and it's unapologetically progressive. So join me on Saturday at 5 p.m. right here on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk. The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show. Let's do this.
Stephanie Miller.
Bob Cesca joins us now.
Oh, God, shut down the internet. Can we just shut it down? We just got to unplug it. We need a timeout from the internet.
Yeah.
All of American society. I think, you know what? I say that half jokingly, but the other half is like, yeah. As someone who worked his entire career on the internet, I feel like we just weren't evolved enough. We weren't ready when it came along. Came along way too soon.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11 on WCPT 820.
This is a WCPT Moment in Labor. On April 1st, California Governor Gavin Newsom raised the state's minimum wage to $20 an hour for fast food workers. And hate to break your conservative uncle's heart, but this is not leading to the downfall of businesses in California. The average hourly rate in California is $38 an hour, meaning many companies already pay more than $20 an hour, just not many of those are fast food restaurants. And it will not kill the small business industry, as only companies with 60 or more locations will be required to pay workers $20 an hour. It's not just teenagers working in the fast food service, and it never has been, as in 2021, the average age of a fast food worker was 26 years old. But sadly, the average cost of living in California is $68,500, while McDonald's makes $25.4 billion a year, and Wendy's makes $2.18 billion a year. Just a little something you can leave in your uncle's comment section. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We are working for your rights.
From energy to public health, extreme weather, the economy, and more, Climate Connections makes the global local. Hear it weekdays during the Tom Hartman program and during Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Right here on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
To be able to go back to the movies.
Introduce my family to my new girlfriend.
For my husband, who's been a chronic asthmatic his whole life.
So I can visit friends in a different state.
So I can take my granddaughter out to the park again.
So that I can hug my 85-year-old grandma again.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be? Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you want your children to read, remember, the special ingredient is you. Spend time with your family, building bonds through reading. Those stories, those memories will last forever.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
He's not here to yell.
He's here to inform and maybe stir the pot.
This is Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. We are just, it's so cool that we have the team that we have here with Mike and with Henry. These guys get it done. And when I do something goofy, they help make it right. So I said before the break that we would have our good friend, Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, hanging out with us for a bit this morning. And I could talk to her for a long time about all that's going on. But Kate, I will say good morning and welcome to you and welcome to the show. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Richard. I'm hanging in there. It's been a wild year.
Man. It's been a wild year. I know. We face plan on this crazy. What I've tried to do the past couple of days is have some fun in the serious moments. And I know you do this so much with the elbows deep work that you do when it comes to immigration. And, yesterday I asked about, what's your favorite president's movie given Monday's President's Day? Don't let this current occupant deter you from all the beauty of some great, presidents' movies and TV series. And so today I, tried to lean into that a little bit more. And because with what we're seeing right now, it's just flat out embarrassment. And, we're a year and a month into this presidency, and I don't even call it a presidency, this just awful display of disgustingness. And so, and yesterday was, and I don't know how much you watched, so I don't make any assumptions.
But it was so horrible.
And you know what, Kate? Here's the thing that I'm going to say, not to you, but to all of us. And I've been saying this in parts this morning. We should not look away from this, I believe, any more than we should look away from what happened to our sister, Miss Good, up in Minneapolis, or our brother, Mr. Preddy, or any other folks that have been harmed or lost their lives as a result. We shouldn't look away from this stuff. And what happened yesterday, we also shouldn't look away from. I was absolutely, I think the low point for me, as I said earlier in the show, was when Pam Bondi went after Congresswoman Becca Balint about, indirectly tried to make a point about her heritage and, with a member of her family having been lost during the Holocaust. And
my gosh, I didn't hear that part.
You got to watch it. And when you watch it, don't have anything in your hand. Don't have any shoes nearby. Don't have any dumbbells nearby, because you might throw something. It was horrible. It was the low point for me. But there are some high points with regard to Democrats being ready to come to the fight, which they've oftentimes been accused of not doing, but they were yesterday, in my observation. So I don't think we can look away. But what's on your mind in that space?
It was an embarrassment, and that anyone would go before Congress and behave like that and talk to them like that is shocking. And especially the Attorney General. It's just so shocking. But the fact that she was flailing and freaking out and literally looked like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the grocery aisle. That is what she was up to. And my sense is that when people behave in that way, they're scared because they know they're losing power or they don't have power. And so to me, it was just an indication of the weakness of her position actually right now. But ultimately, all of this stuff is so embarrassing. And you see it, at the Olympics and the way that our country is being received and all of that. But then we have the high point of the Super Bowl, and I'm still watching that and, clips of that over and over again.
That's what a lot of people are saying now about the halftime show, where, all this garbage that was out there about it, and coming from some people who just don't have any more credibility in corporate media and other places, on the right, but it was such a just example of us as a society and what we can do when we come together and just go, yeah, the guy down the street or the lady down the street, because they look different from me or sound different from me. And this is the thing I always come back to, Kate. And I don't talk about religion a lot. I mention some things. I share some maybe some personal thoughts every now and then, but I'm not advocating one way or the other. But if a person subscribes or ascribes to a certain amount of, quote, Christianity or all God's children, then you can't legitimately in your heart live in a way that says the others are awful, disgusting, bad people. You can't there's no congruency there. And you, as first and foremost, a wonderful human being that happens to be a wife and a mom and an attorney, I know you see some of the worst things happen to people that, if we're all God's children, that shouldn't be happening to them. But you see it in the work that you do. And share some of your thoughts about Richard's complex thought about this.
Yeah, what I'm thinking about as you're talking, I had the great honor and pleasure last night to go see Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And she wrote a book. She's Puerto Rican. And she wrote a book about her mom, Selena. And it's called Just Shine. And it's the story of her mom and how kind she was, how kind and good she was, and how important it is in this life to be kind and good. And I got to talk to her. I got to hear her speak. And it was so uplifting just to see her. And I loved what she did. She had kids submit their questions. And all the kids got to come up and ask their questions and hug her. And she said, you're the gas in my gasoline tank. I want all the kids to come up and give me hugs. And oh, it was so uplifting. And when I went up to her afterward, I said, we need your help. We need your help getting all these immigrants out of detention. And she said, I know you do. I know. And bless you for the work that you're doing. So, I mean, that, the Super Bowl, the good parts of religion, these are the things that or the halftime show, we have to carry these, like she said, the gasoline in our tank, and carry them in our hearts. And the good, I mean, when you think about what happened to Renee, Nicole Good, and Alex Preddy, and Keith Porter, and then you think about like all the helpers and the way that Minnesota showed up, and what Mr. Rogers says about looking for the helpers, and how many people there are right now in unity about how much we need to just love each other and celebrate each other. That's what I'm choosing to look for in because there's lots of darkness, of course. And so I don't know, I see goodness all around me right now, and that is keeping me afloat.
Well, I will thank you for sharing that and reminding us of that, because that's extraordinarily important. I think that's what was probably on my heart when I said, let's talk about, well, let me give credit. One of our listeners from Ohio said to me, hey, what about making sure that people don't let the presidency be turned into something ugly when we all celebrate President's Day and a number of other great presidents. And I thought, yeah, he's right about that. And so I had a little bit of fun with that yesterday, like I said, about movies and shows and that you've watched that have been inspiring to you when it comes to the presidency, or just movies that you liked. Because I'm trying to find, and they're easy to find, actually, the silver linings. It's not even the silver linings. It's just the great things that we're all doing. It's a great energy. Bad Bunny's halftime performance was a perfect example of that. And I was just saying to one of the engineers here, Mike Mercado, that the scene with the baby has been like a massive, just huge thing that a lot of people didn't understand. But what I see, the inspirational piece of that is, we all love babies. We all connect, whether we have children or not. And that, to me, crosses all demographic, social, economic, cultural lines. That's a moment that we all have experienced, because we were babies at one point. I know that sounds goofy as hell, but I love how Mike, he reminded us here in the station, and saw how so many people are seeing that as one of the bright spots of the halftime show.
Yeah, you mean the kiddo that was sleeping on the chairs? Yeah, in the middle of the wedding. Yeah, right. So many people resonated with that. In fact, I saw a video of a group that was watching the show, and before you even pan to that kid, somebody said, all they're missing is a kid sleeping on the wedding chairs. Then you see the kid, and the whole room just erupted. It's like, it was such a moment. And I've been seeing a lot of videos of Latinos and like old men, like men in their 80s, just crying at the recognition and just the message of that show. It really cannot be overstated how important and needed that message was for so many people in this country right now. And what's shocking to me is that there are two camps about this show. And forgive me if you've already spent time talking about this, and I keep bringing it up. But you're either in the camp where you didn't understand the words and you don't like it, and like arms crossed, or you're in the camp of, we are all one, and how awesome is this, and shouldn't we just celebrate and have joy? And we literally have a choice, an actual choice about which path we're going to go down. And why on earth would you choose anything but joy and celebration? I mean, it's like, let's just do that.
That's right.
Can we?
No, Kate, listen. We can talk about that for 24 hours, because that's where we should be. So it doesn't matter if I've talked about it before or not, because that's where we say we should be. But to your point, and this is where I draw the line with folks. You're either with them or you're with us. And there's no longer any there's no gray area if people don't recognize that there is that. And it's hard to say that, or maybe not hard to say, but it's one of those things that you don't want to have to say. But we do have to say it, and that's why I said we can't look away from these moments right now. If you, as an everyday person, one of the callers that called before you came on said, Richard, right now, if they're choosing, and he was talking about not just members of Congress, but everyday folk, if they're choosing to still support this carnage, then you're not with us. So what we have to do is rally in the immigration conversation, in the economics conversation, in the voting conversation, in all arenas. We have to rally people together so that we fix this, because otherwise we won't have those moments like Bad Bunny brought to us this past Sunday at the halftime show. But I can't get away from one of my favorite peoples, and that's you, because of the hard work that you do. And you're on the ground, as I say, sleeves rolled up, elbows deep in this. And I know that you've got a lot that we could talk about. But give me some updates. I know that you've got your campaign that you're leaning into, which is important to the state, and it's important to all of us. How is that going right now, Kate?
It's going great. Our primary is March 3rd. So I'm almost there, but there are 6 of us in the race. And if one of us doesn't win with more than 50% of the vote, we'll go into a runoff. So a runoff is likely, but I'm getting so much positive response from the voters. And I did secure a critical endorsement from the Austin American-Statesman this week, which is our big paper. And that's a really thoughtful and reasoned endorsement. I mean, this is something that's interesting and, maybe unexpected is, to the conversation around the need for unity. One of the things that has surprised me on the campaign trail during a primary season is the way that the Democratic Party pushes its own self toward division. And this is, there's a lot of people do individual endorsements and club endorsements. And one of the things that has really surprised me, I'm running for the Texas House of Representatives, so I'm doing a lot of local politics, is the way that people within the Democratic Party pick and choose and kind of go at each other. And it is erosive. And it is unhelpful, and it's actually something, right now I'm in the middle of a campaign and it's not worth it for me to focus on that issue, but it is something that I intend to talk about, because I don't think we're doing ourselves any favors in the Democratic Party. And I mean, if you look at Tallarico and Crockett, Jasmine Crockett running for Senate here in Texas, and even that race got a little funky recently, and it's just like to the Bad Bunny, to the halftime, like, are we the party of unity or are we not?
Yeah.
And let's make a choice here. Let's be the party of unity and stand together.
Kate, thanks for having the courage as a candidate to say that, because it is one of the things that a lot of people throughout the country in Democratic strongholds and in purple districts, that's being said, and it's being said quietly. But I think I understood you correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Fingers crossed you get the nomination, you win. When you're in the state house, you're going to, I'm assuming what you were saying is you're going to bring that as a conversation, maybe not publicly, but privately. We got to stop, knifing ourselves. No disrespect. Is that kind of what you were saying?
Definitely. I'm already drafting my op-ed, I mean, the thing about doing it as a candidate is it seems like it would be received as self-serving.
Right.
Like, oh, you just want, more endorsements or whatever. And that's frank. I actually have not asked for one single individual endorsement for this reason. But I've watched the way it has broken apart alliances and friendships and groups, and it has brought in toxicity. And then what happens after the primary? That one of the horses wins, but then there's all this fallout from the way that people picked and chose.
Yeah.
Through the primary. It's unhelpful. And it doesn't, ultimately, what are we doing here with endorsements? We're trying to help the voters make decisions. So if that's the end goal, let's do that instead. Let's not do only pick one of your friends and upset all the other ones. Let's do, more opportunities to demonstrate who the candidates are and talk about who they are and what the differences are without endorsing, anyway, it's kind of, it's weird. It's in the weeds, and it's something that we don't talk about a lot, but I really am noticing on the inside for the first time how unhelpful it is to the party. And if it's happening here in Travis County in the middle of Texas, it's happening all over this country at every local, state, and federal level. And we need to stop it. It's not helping our party
at all. And many would say that we go back to the 2024 national election. And certainly there was that element there deep when it came to President Biden stepping down and how that all, fell out. And the crazy part about it is, no matter how someone feels about if he should have left earlier, if he should have left at all, whatever, ultimately, this is one of those things that, take this the right way, respectfully. You're a Southern-esque girl, and Mama always said, "Don't air your laundry in public." And so, right? Is that a fair?
Yeah.
So we got to stop air. I've been saying this for a long time. We have to stop airing our laundry in public because it gives the Republicans stuff that they need. My mother used to say, the stick to hit you with. So we have to stop doing that. And public is any place where somebody that sees it can take advantage of it. So I'm with you on that. I'm strongly with you on that, and I'm going to keep speaking to it as well because we have to stop doing it. It doesn't mean we don't call out bad behavior or things that are not working. That's different. But it means we can't do it in public. We have to do it behind closed doors. We have to fix those creases. And if we're going to pick sides for all of us rather than a segment of the internal machine of the Democratic Party. Anyhow, I'm with you on that. Let's keep it simple as I can.
And, I think what we're missing is a sense of belonging too. As Democrats, it's like the Republicans clearly have that. just look at Turning Point,
Yeah.
And on our side, we don't, and we could have such a long conversation about this too, but I think we ought to have we all belong. Every one of us belongs in this party, and the sense of inclusion and invitation and welcoming. But instead, I think we have a lot of our own sort of debate and infighting, and it makes people feel like they're on the outside. In politics, a lot feels a little bit like a, middle school recess situation. And let's not do that. Look what it's done to us. Let's be the party of belonging somehow. Anyway, these are fresh thoughts for me on the campaign trail, but we are due for an overhaul, I think, in this realm.
Yeah. Kate, here's the thing. We're going to run out of time. So what I want you to do is look at your calendar and let's figure out how to get you back on in the next couple of weeks before the month is out. And the reason I want to do that and say it now is that we've got some other deep issues to talk about. I'm not even going to introduce them because I know you and I will, we want to go down that path the right way. So let's do that because there's some things that are going on with immigration that we should talk about. There's some things that are going on with economics of immigration that we should talk about. But I don't want to leave this moment of, like you said at the top, about finding the joy. You're running for an office. It's an important seat. You're going to be working with some extraordinary Texas state politicians if you were to win. So let me ask you that hard question. Maybe it's a hard question. What's going to be that thing that you say, this is mine? I'm running this particular issue now that I'm in the state Senate.
Oh, thank you for asking that. And it will not surprise you to hear that for me, it's going to be immigration and the security and unity of families, and not just immigrants, but people of color in the state of Texas, because we have racial profiling going on, that state troopers authorized by Greg Abbott to go after people. The Supreme Court has told ICE they can racially profile. The sheriffs have to cooperate with ICE. The police departments have to cooperate on some level with ICE. And people forget about immigration during session because it's a hard and divisive issue. And my commitment, my promise to the people of Texas is that I will never, ever look away or forget about immigration as an issue. It's always going to be top of mind for me. And what that means is that families in Texas, regardless of where they're from or what they look like or any of that, that they feel safe, to go out on the streets and send their kids to school and go to the hospital and go to church and all of the things that they need to do. So that's my commitment. And that's what I'm after.
Who do you have, or who do you believe you have as allies that are elected officials right now when it comes to being able to continue to do that work once you are elected?
There are a lot of the Democratic caucus will definitely be allies on this, and we're in a dust up because we have James Tallarico, my rep, running for Senate. Gina Hinojosa is running for governor. So a lot of the Democratic sort of strongholds within the Texas House are leaving, and so we're in this. Actually, look, I have this Austin Chronicle right here, and it says musical chairs at the Texas House of Representatives.
Wow.
So that's what's happening. It's like, oh, we're all changing around. And so that's one of the reasons I'm running. I'm like, we got to get someone like me in there to at least make sure we've got some immigration expertise.
Yeah. And that's something that all across the country now, that's what's being asked for is, do we have the legal expertise, the legal minds that understand what the laws are on the books currently and then what needs to be changed. And you've definitely been at the forefront of that. Like I said, look at your calendar and let's make sure that we get you back on soon, because I do want to talk about some of the things that are happening with ICE specifically, and more broadly, some of the reports that have come out on the economics of immigration in the country, because I think that's something that a lot of people, they hear it peripherally, or that it's something that kind of flies by, but we haven't really kind of dove into some of the details. So I'd love to have you back in a little bit of time and talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, spoiler alert, immigrants are really good for the economy.
That's what, Kate, don't tell anybody. I heard the same thing. Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, y'all. How can they find you and help out with your campaign no matter where they are on the planet?
Thank you. I'm at KLG4 Texas, FOR Texas on Instagram.
Fantastic. Kate, thanks for being with us this morning. Stay safe, stay proud, and stay full of joy. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Richard. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. 773-763-9278 is the number you're listening to Choose Use on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Experience matters, especially when it comes to public safety. I'm Amy Johnson, and I've spent more than 20 years serving Kane County. I began my career on patrol, worked as a detective, Kane County Major Crime Supervisor, served as Chief of Staff, and now proudly serve as Undersheriff. That experience gives me a full understanding of the job, the budget, and the serious responsibility that comes with leading a sheriff's office. I know that public safety isn't just about enforcement, it's about accountability, transparency, and working in partnership with the community. I believe in supporting deputies and staff, using taxpayer dollars responsibly, and making decisions that keep Kane County safe while treating everyone with dignity and respect. Today and into the future, I'm focused on strengthening trust, building community partnerships, and ensuring Kane County remains a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. This election, vote for Amy Johnson for Kane County Sheriff. Early voting has begun. The primary is March 17th.
Paid for by friends of Amy Johnson. The Kane County Dems are proud to host the annual Truman Dinner on Sunday, March 8th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Q Center in St. Charles. Keynote speaker will be Jason Crow, who has served as the United States Representative for Colorado's 6th Congressional District since 2019. In November of 2025, Crow was one of 6 people, all Democratic lawmakers, to be part of a video telling service members they can refuse illegal orders. As we look forward to the 2026 midterms, there is no better voice to help us fire up the grassroots and keep Illinois moving forward. Invited speakers will be Christian Mitchell, Lauren Underwood, Dick Durbin, Bill Foster, Tammy Duckworth, and Raja Krishnamurthy. Order your tickets today. Tickets sell out fast. The Kane County Dems will see you at the Q Center at 1405 North 5th Street in St. Charles on March 8th. Buy tickets at kanedems.org.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. We'll have winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 28. By Friday, sunshine, a high of 50 degrees. Saturday, partial sunshine develops a high around 52. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high around 52. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 30.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Richard Chu's got his eyes on the truth. And you're right where you need to be. This is Chu's Views.
All righty, guys. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for being with us. Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch. You all have to follow her. She's doing the work. And indirectly, the work that she's doing is impacting our next two guests. And they will talk about it potentially in terms of the importance of immigration being in a strong way for the country and how it impacts their industry, which then ends up impacting every single one of us in this country. I'm talking about John Bartman, fifth generation Illinois soybean farmer, just a good dude, and activist Will Westmoreland. The last time that John was on with me, it was the day that had Karen Byrne with us in studio. And John talked about something that y'all could visibly see and hear that Karen and I were moved by, because the way in which he talked about how they have, meaning our farmers, have been struck by this horrible, the acts of this current administration. Full stop. I'm unapologetic about saying those words. If we don't say those words, if we look away, then stuff happens that's bad for all of us. But I'm so honored to have John back with us this morning. And I guess he brought along one of his activist road dogs, Will Westmoreland. Good morning, guys, and welcome to Choose Views.
Hey, good morning.
I love your background. John, I love your background, man. I'm jealous as hell because, you know, I know how to drive one of those. My grandfather and my uncle, my grandfather's on my grandfather on my mother's side and my uncles on my mother's side were deep farmers in Mississippi way back in the day. So yeah, I learned years ago how to actually drive one of those. It wasn't as cool and as fancy as yours, but I knew how to get it around the field. So welcome, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
Well, thanks for having me back, and thanks for Will for hopping on. This is great.
Yes, it is.
No, I've been watching John's stuff for a while now, so I'm really excited to be on here with him. We're like two ships passing in the night.
Hey,
so
Will,
it's great to get to meet him on your show.
Will, isn't he something else though, man? I mean, when you talk about his stuff, he's doing the work, and I appreciate how hard he's worked for so many people. Not just in the farming industry or farming business, because that's America. Mm-hmm. You know, and all facets of our country, that's America. That's who we are. Yeah. We are a strongly agricultural state, not state, but country. And it's guys like John that have been really at the forefront, and he stands on the shoulders of so many previous farmers. I mean, obviously the fifth generation, but just in terms of what it's meant to our country. So, John, how you been, man? What you been working on? Talk to us about what's been happening and what's on your heart right now.
Well, it's just thanks for having us back, Richard, and hopefully let's call this one "No More Tears" radio today. Yeah, I watched the show afterwards, and thank you for caring so much, and it does matter. And but no, we're working on some really strong things right now. We're trying to just keep this administration and keep their coals to the fire. And as Will will tell you, we've got this $12 billion bailout package that we really didn't want. And, farmers like me who grow corn and soybeans, we're only getting about $30 an acre. And when you boil that down to it, our seed costs are over $50 an acre. So a farm family of four right now, the way that Trump has this inflation so screwed up, a family of four can't even go to McDonald's anymore for $30. So it's just a real bad thing. What's happening? Without a doubt. Will, take a moment and introduce yourself to us and the work that you've been doing. I know that the organization that you are a big part of, Back 40, excuse me,
Back 40 Action is part of your template, but let our listeners know all over the country a little bit more about you and your work.
Sure. Well, Richard, thank you for letting me come on today. And I'm just a product of rural America. My dad passed away when I was 5 years old, and we didn't have a pot to pee in, as we'd say out here where John and I live. And the farm was my salvation. I lived for the first 5-6 years of my life in government housing, on food stamps, any safety net program you could take advantage of, brother. We took advantage of it. And at about the age of 6, my grandfather came and picked us all up in horse trailers and pickup trucks, and the family farm became my salvation. And I spent my childhood on a 600-acre cattle farm in southwest Missouri. We don't have enough flat ground here to raise row crops like John does. And over the course of my life, I had a 300 cow-calf operation at one time with my family, and now I do what John would call frou-frou farming. I raise elderberries and Chinese chestnuts and things like that. And I think that all of my advocacy sprung from, I got tired of hearing my friends in the city say, well, all we need is 3% more of the vote and we could win national elections if we could just win 3% more in rural America. And I'm sitting out here with John going, wait a minute, we want to win school boards and get school board members that don't want to ban books. And we want to win county clerk's offices to get free and fair elections. And we want state house members that are going to stand up for rural America. And that was just enough for me to start Back 40 Action. And what we, in a nutshell, the elevator speech, Richard, what we do is we advocate for better health care, better education, and better ag economics out here in rural America. We try to go around the country and point out these are the things that are broken, but we try to take it, like John does, a step past rage baiting. It's not just this is what's wrong and we should all be mad, but what do we need to do to fix it? And I would just say one last thing, because it's really impacted my life story, is one of the reasons I cracked down so hard on fixing this healthcare problem is when I was 12 years old, I got my arm caught in the power takeoff on a tractor on our farm, and I laid out there for 2 hours bleeding out, waiting for an ambulance to show up to get me to the hospital. We built the next year in my little community, we built a little rural hospital, and if that accident happened today, I would get there in 36 minutes. Well, under the president's new plan, that hospital is going to lose $2.5 million a year. And to me, just to wrap it up, to me, that's the same thing as the president saying it's okay for somebody else's 12-year-old son or grandson or granddaughter to lay out there and bleed out for 2 hours, waiting on an ambulance to show up. And I just refuse to believe, regardless of all the problems that we have, I refuse to believe that we're going to let ourselves go back to that day and time.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so I promised myself that I wouldn't get choked up, but I don't want to tell that lie because that would push me to the edge. But the point that you're making, Will, that's so important is that is real. That is what bad legislation, bad unnecessary executive orders, and all the rest is causing right now. I said last May, I said this earlier in the show, I said it last May on air, we're not heading toward autocracy and authoritarianism. We're there. And this is what this awful amount of legislation and or executive orders is causing, because now we've got a hospital that's saved lives that you probably don't even know about, Will. Certainly made lives better for people because it was there. And $2 million may not seem like a lot of money for people that might be in a metropolitan area, but that's a heap of money for a small rural hospital. And it's not just the money that is not there. It's also what the people who, and I've said this so many times about hospitals, it's what the people who work for that hospital then don't get to do in terms of feeding the economy that's around that area. And that's true in a rural community, a suburban community, and even in a metropolitan community, because we've had that happen here in Chicago. So thank you for highlighting that and the importance of making sure that we aren't wasting money, sending it to other countries when it comes to our trade disparities and propping up other economies, no matter who they are, when right here we need to be taking care of our own folk. John, why don't you jump in on that?
Well, and what boils down to for somebody who's sitting in Evanston or sitting in Naperville right now, what we're trying to say is that we all want the same things. Rural America wants good health care, we want good schools, we want clean water, and we want jobs. And those are the same thing that somebody in Naperville wants, somebody that the 8th Ward down on the south side, they want the same thing. And when we talk about these issues, that's when we move forward and we get ahead. And that's why people need to follow Will on social media, because he does a terrific job of just getting directly to the point of the issue. And the other side is very, very nervous about Will, because Will knows how to explain it to people.
They always are. And what Will has proven in his work is that the folks that pretend to be the smartest, fastest, bestest people in the room, they've been hoodwinking everybody. They're not. And it's the people like Will and you, John, that are right there on the ground, that are making it clear that we know what we're talking about. We know how to identify the problem. And this is going back to something that Will said, but we also know how to fix it. And I think about this from a very literal standpoint that you guys experience. If that plow or a bit of machinery breaks, you can stand there and look at it and go, it's broken. Or you can go, yeah, it's broken. Now we either need to go get another one or we need to fix this one. And in the cases where, we look at our politics right now and the issues that this White House and frankly, all the GOP is bringing to us and standing behind and supporting, we need to break them down. We need to either get rid of them. We can't fix them. I don't think we can fix them. I think we have to get rid of them and we have to bring in new. And new is activists like you, Will, people like our friend Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, immigration attorney who was just on, new people that see that we've got to get rid of. We no longer, this across the aisle stuff. I'm just being honest. That's not working. We have to fight it like you said. Will, we've got to identify it. And then what's the fix? And I appreciate you guys being, unafraid to speak that way. Will, you go.
Yeah. So Richard, to your point, I was talking to a group the other day. I went up to Minnesota right after Renee Good was killed because I wanted to see it with my own eyes. And I saw things up there. I hope you'll forgive me for this analogy, but honestly, it's the only thing I could think of, Richard. Back when we were kids and we used to watch the old black and white videos of the civil rights movement, when they would turn the fire hoses loose or let the dogs go, it's honestly the only thing I could find in my mind or in my mental history that compared to what I saw in Minnesota. I came back here and I was telling, John's probably like me, you can't throw a rock here without hitting a Trump supporter, although that's changing. I want everybody to know that is changing.
That was going to be my question.
But they would run out of, from behind their, facility walls, and they would, without any warning, tackle people, knock them to the ground, beat them up. I saw one truckload of ICE guys just drive down a row of people standing there protesting on the sidewalk, bear sprayed every one of them along the way. Saw them put a kid in his teens in a truck and beat him up, and they later dumped him out in a parking lot in 6-degree weather. And the kid was just in the fetal position crying. And that's not the country that we grew up in, at least the one John and I grew up in. Unfortunately, some of our allies here did. And I never thought I would see a day where that can happen. But I say all that to say this. I was talking with an advocacy group the other day, and they said, well, we don't want you to come speak because we try to be nonpartisan. We've got to work with everybody. And I said, I do the same thing. I want to work with everybody, but how in the hell do you fix a problem if you don't call out who's causing the problem?
That's right.
So this milquetoast, approach to, doing things the way we did in the 1980s and 1990s when we were all young, it just isn't going to work anymore. And I'm willing to work across the aisle and to work with anybody that wants to solve the problem, but they've got to be realistic and legitimate in their approach to fixing the problem, which is the first step, for the love of Pete, ought to be just admitting that the problem exists and that we're not playing some kind of fourth dimensional chess, which is what our guys out here where we live think sometimes.
Man, Will, I can't wait to have you guys back on again. You're a good tag team. I got to give it up in that space. But that's the point. Well, I mean, and John, I'll come to you after this. Let me take care of some business. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with John Bartman, who is a fifth-generation soybean farmer, and activist Will Westmoreland, who is bringing the heat this morning. We can't tiptoe around this. We've known this, but we no longer can tiptoe around it. We don't have the luxury any longer. Like you said, going back to a time when maybe there was a little bit more realistic bipartisan conversation on a state level, local level, state and federal. That doesn't exist now. And so to not talk about it, to look away is to me, it's a default in how we operate. So I appreciate you reminding us, Will, that can't be the way we approach it. John, let me ask you this. You're one that spoke about how things like FFA and our relationship with China when it comes to legislation and money is not quite lined up the way that it should be.
And that is exactly one of those hot button issues right now, how far out the other team is. Right now, the future farmers of America are being investigated by the Republican House Ways and Means Committee because they're worried that they're under the umbrella of the Chinese Communist Party right now. I kid you not. And the reason why they're saying that is one of their main sponsors is Syngenta. And Syngenta used to be a Swiss agrochemical company that happens to own seed. And they are worried that they're having influence over them. The sad reality is the FFA isn't getting the amount of funding that they need from the federal government right now because everybody's worried about giving money to the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just this hypocrisy is just incredible right now that you've got this great leadership organization known as the FFA that's been around for 100 plus years, made some great leaders, continues to make great leaders, makes great strides in the urban environment right now too.
Right.
Most of the blue coat kids now, because that's what they get when they become a member, most of the newer members are in urban schools right now. So it's a great nationwide organization that they're having an absolute fit about. And now what little funding that the FFA does receive, they're going to have to use that for lawyers to be sure that they could testify to deal with these guys in the House Ways and Means. It's ridiculous.
And it takes away from what the objective is because the word, I mean, the thing about the education piece is when I was reading through some of the information, it just ticked me off. It's like, wait a minute. We're talking about building our agricultural bench, and our support. And you're worried about like how they're going to be. There's so lacking in congruency when it comes to some of this legislation coming out of Washington. They just don't, they don't get it. They don't understand. And I've used this word, and some people have criticized me for it, and that's okay. They're just stupid. Or the actions are just stupid. Will, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I don't know. John may agree with this. I think what the FFA did is they committed the cardinal sin of teaching young students that everybody, regardless of who they are, what background they come from, what color they are, their sexual preference, et cetera, that they could all be advocates for farming. I think that's the cardinal sin that they broke. And I'm sure that they want to remake the FFA in their own image like they've tried to remake all. Listen, you guys can steal this one. I'm going to give you permission to steal this story, okay?
All right.
Down here in southwest Missouri, we're not too far from Oklahoma where Will Rogers used to ply his trade. And one time a reporter in Tulsa asked Will Rogers, how do country people learn? John, you'll appreciate this. And Will Rogers said, well, some learn by reading, a few learn by observation, and the rest just have to pee on the electric fence for themselves. And that's the stage that we're in right now, is the pee on the electric fence stage. And we've got a lot of people that are learning the hard way that this president that promised them they were going to get record high grain prices, that he was going to be an advocate for the cattle markets, that he was going to expand new markets overseas. He's not delivered. As a matter of fact, John's stuff is great. Everybody needs to watch it because I call John a gambler. If you're a row crop farmer right now, you're a gambler. That ought to be your theme song. But he's destroyed these markets for decades to come. The Chinese didn't go down to South America and spend billions and billions of dollars tearing down the rainforest, building new train tracks, and helping them expand their harbors just to say 2 years from now, well, we were just kidding. We'll start buying all of our row crops from America again. It's bad. The good news is people out here are starting to listen, not as fast as we need them to. They're not changing their mind as quickly as we need them to. But everywhere I go, I'll have that group that waits around to the very end when everybody else leaves, and they'll slowly meander up to the front and say, well, boy, you got me thinking a little bit different way here now. And if we can just keep doing that and getting our word out, I know that the pain will reach a crescendo at some point where our folks come along with us. It just unfortunately has to be that way. They got to feel that hurt before they change their mind.
Listen, and John, I'm gonna let you grab it after this. My good friend and hosts another show here on WCPT. His name is Eric Grant. He often uses the phrase, sometimes you got to get that A-whooping. I won't use the word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You got to get that A-whooping before you learn to not touch the hot stove again. And that's kind of where the country is right now. And you can tell, and listen, I'm not about anybody going through any pain. We've all gone through it, and whether it be emotional, physical, financial, whatever it is. I'm not down with anybody having to go through it. But there are some folks that we told, we didn't try to tell, that stove is not only hot, but it will turn on you. It will get legs, and it will rise up and turn on you. And that's exactly what we've told people for a long time, not just this last election cycle. And now people are getting that A-whooping that they probably, unfortunately, need so that they can wake up. So I appreciate you, Will, you putting it in that way. I got to keep it clean so I don't say the word. I want to say it, but I'm not going to say it. Y'all know I want to say it. John, what are you trying to do? This is kind of a part of what Will was saying about getting those folks to come up to you after an event, because I know exactly what Will is talking about. You can see them, they head nod, and their body language changes when they're sitting in the chairs, and you kind of eyeball like that person's probably getting the message. And then they wait around, and then they come up and talk to you afterward. How are you navigating that? How are you trying to embrace that and further that way of connecting with folks?
Well, the thing we also have to realize too is that a lot of these rural areas, we don't have a voice there, and they're not hearing the message. They're not listening to your show every morning like they should be.
Thank you,
Richard. But that's also a major problem right now, that we have to invest in those local activists, those local parties in the rural areas. And I'm sure Will can tell you, you give a candidate who's running for county board in a rural area, you give them $100. That's like giving $5,000 to somebody who's in one of the wards running for alderman right now. That dollar really stretches so much further down in the rural areas, because, and I can say this being from Illinois, everybody knows my own history here. We have done a really poor job of supporting these candidates in the rural areas now. And especially when we look at our own state in Southern Illinois right now, those are really strong pro-labor people in Southern Illinois. They are the heart, salt of the earth, and they've been ignored. And the Trump bandwagon just really came through because the Republican Party's message for the rest of the state of Illinois is always everything goes to Chicago. It all goes. They blame everything. They're like a parrot that just only knows how to say one thing over and over again. You got a problem? Oh, it all goes to Chicago. Oh, it all goes to Chicago. Blame Chicago. And there's been a lot of really strong candidates that really, and elected officials that lost, that with a little bit of extra help, they still would be there right now. Because if we don't give them that voice, they're going to listen to the other side. And now we do have their attention. We'll admit that we do have their attention. We just need to get them to come over and vote for the right people.
Yeah, we got to keep their attention. one of the things that I set out to do with this show, and we're coming to an end, so we got to have you guys back on as soon as we can to keep this conversation going. Momentum's important right now. But I've really worked hard and made a commitment to saying, let's talk about local issues, because everything local now is national and everything national is local, and particularly under this administration. And we have to be willing to do that. And I appreciate having both of you guys on today. John, it's good to see you again, my man. I'm glad you're well and holding up, and we got your back. You're always welcome to be on the show to bring your message. And Will, it's been an honor to meet you. And I love your stories about that, the person that needs to learn that the hot wire is not the place you want to expose yourself. Let's put it that way.
There you go. Thanks for having me on. And John, it's great to meet you in person, man. We'll stay in touch.
Real quick, guys, let folks know, I didn't mean to interrupt you, John. Let folks know how they can find you. Start with you, Will.
Yeah, so our organization is Back 40 Action. You can find that at back40action.org, all spelled out. If you have a few extra dollars in your pocket and you don't want to do what John talked about and push local advocacy, you can donate to us there. And then I'm on just about every social media under either Westmoreland Pops or Westmoreland_Pops, and you can find my videos and things there. I'm doing what John talked about. I need to get him out on the road with me when he's not planning, but I go all over the country. I've been to 23 states so far to talk about these issues and advocate for a better rural America. So if you want me to come speak where you are, just let me know through that website.
John.
I'm boring. I'm not as exciting as Will. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm John Bartman on Blue Sky if you want to follow me there. I'm actually going to be speaking for Black History at the Cary Library next Thursday at 6:00. I'm going to be talking about George Washington Carver. So that could be a pretty cool.
A great agricultural fit. Hey, John, make sure you send me that information, okay? You got my email, but I'll read it to you again, Richard at WCPT820.com, because I'd like to show up and support what you're doing. Guys, thanks to both of you for hanging out with us. Blessings to you both. Stay safe. Look forward to having you both back again. This has been a lot of fun, and we appreciate all that you're doing, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, we got to wrap up the show. I push it to the end every day. But as we say always, make sure to stay tuned to the Stephanie Miller Show and take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
David and Cassie have about $970,000 in a mix of IRAs, brokerage, and bank accounts. They're 71 years old. They retired in 2018. And they came into Brookfield Tax Planning for a free second opinion tax review and to have their taxes prepared. The couple was stunned to discover they have overpaid income taxes by over $45,000 since they retired. Their hard-earned retirement money lost forever. Their accountant does their returns after the year is over, when it's too late to save much. Their advisor handles securities, but he doesn't reduce taxes. You should only pay the absolute minimum the law allows. So are you 100% sure you're paying the lowest taxes? You may be surprised when you get a free second opinion review. Call Brookfield Tax Planning at 708-485-3439 or visit BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com. That's BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com for tax planning and tax returns.
Hi, I'm LaShawn K. Ford, and I'm running for Congress because I see what's happening in our communities every day. I see young people struggling to find opportunity. I see seniors working harder just to make ends meet, and I see families feeling squeezed by rising costs while Washington stays distracted. This Trump administration has brought chaos and corruption instead of real solutions. We need leadership that listens and delivers. As a state legislator, I've spent years fighting for working families, seniors, and communities that too often get left behind. That record is why I'm endorsed by Congressman Danny K. Davis, former U.S. Senator Roland Burst, former Congressman Bobby Rush, former Secretary of State Jesse White, and the Speaker of the Illinois House, Chris Welch. Make your plan to vote, and on your ballot, punch 31, paid for by LaShawn K. Ford for Congress.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Several hundred detectives and agents have been assigned to the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie has been missing for almost 2 weeks. Fresh surveillance images from Guthrie's porch the night she went missing, coupled with intense police activity across Arizona and the detention of a man, had raised hopes that authorities were nearing a major break. But then the man was released after questioning, leaving it unclear where the investigation stands. Most Americans say President Trump has gone too far in his federal immigration crackdown. AP correspondent Donna Warder has more.
About 6 in 10 U.S. adults who responded to a poll by the Associated Press and the North Center for Public Affairs Research say President Donald Trump has gone too far in sending federal immigration agents into U.S. cities. 4 in 10 say they approve of Trump's approach. About 3 in 10 adults say they trust Republicans to do a better job handling immigration. But 3 in 10 also said they trust Democrats to do a better job. Still, Trump's core supporters overwhelmingly approve of his immigration tactics. About half of Republicans say his actions have been about right. Donna Warder, Washington.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is leading a large U.S. delegation this week to the Munich Security Conference. The State Department's formal announcement of Rubio's trip offered no details about his 2-day stop in Munich. But officials who spoke on condition of anonymity say the U.S.'s top diplomat intends to focus on areas of cooperation on shared global and regional concerns, including in the Middle East and Ukraine, as well as China. Wall Street pointed toward gains before the opening bell, as markets take in more corporate earnings reports ahead of the latest labor market data. More stories at apnews.com. This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. At the Winter Olympics, American ice dancers Madison Chalk and Evan Bates finished with the silver medal after being upset by France's Laurence Fournier-Boudry and Guillaume Cizeron.
I think the love that we have for each other and for the sport really brought us through.
American Chloe Kim is through to the 12-athlete final in women's halfpipe. Slovakia upset Finland 4-1 in men's hockey. Blake Griffin, Candace Parker, Elena Della Dawn, and Coach Doc Rivers were among the finalists announced for the 2026 Basketball Hall of Fame class. On the court, Kawhi Leonard's three-point play with 2 seconds left and 27 points led the Clippers past the Rockets 105-102. Top pick Cooper Flagg won't play in the NBA's Rising Stars game because of a left midfoot sprain. And Kyle Busch grabbed the Daytona 500 pole seeking his first victory.
I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high into the lower 40s. We'll have winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 28. By Friday, sunshine, a high of 50 degrees. Saturday, partial sunshine develops a high around 52. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high around 52. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 28.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year, contacted Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 112-4061.
Interested in debt-free education? It's one benefit of apprenticeship with Plumbers Local 130 UA of the greater Chicagoland area. These days, high school seniors need to rethink going to a four-year college and creating debt with no plan in sight. Students and their parents need to think about learning a trade that pays you to learn and create a career. Being part of Plumbers Local Union 130 UA achieves those goals. As an apprentice, you receive great wages, great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription drug, vision and hearing, no college debt, 2 pensions, and access to union wellness centers and eye care with 0 deductibles and 0 copays. Admission to the Plumbing Apprenticeship Program ends February 13th or with the first 2,000 submissions. Applicants have to be 18 years old and have a high school diploma or a GED certificate. See the full list of requirements and qualifications and apply for your future now at apply.jac130.org.
This is WCPT 820, where